Hello again. In today's video I'm going to show you how I make a Hexpeak tarp shelter using a 3x3 DD tarp. I'll start off by showing you around the shelter and then I'll go through all the components that you need and we'll have a rough guide on how to get it set up. So here's a shelter. It's vaguely based on the Hexpeak Tent that some of you wild campers and bushcrafters may have seen before. It's a really good tent, quite expensive though, and if you've already got a DD tarp, this might just help you out. The tent requires no cordage whatsoever. However, if you wanted to, you could guy it out here for extra stability, but the shelter itself is really sturdy, so it will withstand a lot of wind battering. If we take a look inside the shelter, you can see there's quite a lot of room in there. You could sleep 2 adults in there quite comfortably, and you'll also get your kit in as well. I would imagine, I'm 5'8" and I can lie down there comfortably. I would imagine that 6-footers could get in there no problem at all. Another advantage of this shelter is it boasts quite a lot of headroom, so you can quite easily sit up. It's very comfortable. I don't particularly want to get dirty, but I will lay down just to show you that there is sufficient room for me to lay in here. There's extra space at the top if I require it. So it's a great shelter for UK conditions. It sheds the wind really well. I'll show you now how I set it up. This shelter setup doesn't require a huge amount of equipment. I've got a walking pole which I've got set at 125 centimeters. I've got a 3x3 DD tarp and 6 tent stakes. The first part of setting it up, I just open up the tarp over the area where I want to put my shelter. And then I stake out 1 loop in on one end of the tarp. So the tent stake goes 1 loop in and 1 loop in from that end, keeping that section reasonably taut. I then take my trekking pole, which is set at 1.25 meters, and I find the center of the tarp and gently pull it up to add tension to the tarp, and roughly find where the center pole needs to go. I then push the pole into the ground. The next stage I find is helpful but not essential is where the pole meets the centre, because I just use the tent stake bag and I just tie a temporary knot around there. You can do that with anything, a piece of natural cordage, a bit of string you've got in your pocket, anything like that. I then find the opposite centre bit of the tarp and I stake it into the ground. This allows me to pull the tarp out and peg out the opposite 2 loops to that side over there. So this is what we have so far. There's the first 2 pegs and the second 2 pegs directly opposite. At this point you can remove the small knot you put on the top and add a little more tension to your pole if you need to, but I don't need to on this occasion. One thing I forgot to mention earlier is you're going to need 2 small carabiners for this part. So what you do is you find the centre of the tarp, you move out 1 loop on each side and you bring those together, and you then clip on the carabiner. And with the carabiner you just pull it out and tension out your tarp. Repeat this on the opposite side, so you find the centre, go out 1 loop on either side, pull them together and clip with a carabiner. You can then add tension and stake down the top. It's then just a question of tidying up the tarp a little bit, adding a bit of tension at the pegging out points and tucking under the flaps. So add a little tension, and tuck the flaps underneath. And there we have it, the finished Hexpeak shelter. You can, if you want, tie out or peg out any additional points, but with only 6 pegs this is a very robust shelter. I'll quickly show you how you get in and out. So to gain entry to the shelter, all you need to do is take your carabiner and remove 1 of the loops, and then you lift up the tarp and there's your doorway. Closing the shelter is just the opposite really. So you find the loop, which is 1 in from the centre, clip it back onto the carabiner and you tuck in the flap. This can be done just as easily from the inside of the tent. So there you go, the Hexpeak tarp shelter. Very easy to put up. All you need is a 3x3 tarp, hiking pole and half a dozen tent pegs and 2 carabiners. I'd just like to finish off with a shout out for Papa Hiker. He's the guy that actually designed this tarp setup. He does show it in one of his videos. I don't know if you've seen his channel. I'll put a link in the description below. He doesn't really show in great detail how to set it up, so I thought I would show you myself, because I think it's a really interesting design, really strong in conditions that I live in the UK. So I suggest you check out his channel if you like some interesting tarp design setups. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.